All right, so we're diving into Mark of the Fool 8 today. Um, Newest book in this 10-book fantasy series, right? Available on Kindle and also Audible. Just came out March 19th, 2025. So pretty new.
Yeah, brand new.
But our goal, I think, with this deep dive is to, really get a sense of what this book is about, what are people saying about it, and ultimately, why should anyone care?
Yeah, especially if you've been following along with the series, right? 8 books in, there's a dedicated fan base here. We've got to figure out, like, does this book deliver what you'd expect?
Exactly, exactly. So I guess starting with the basics for anyone who hasn't hopped on this train yet, or maybe they're thinking about it, what kind of fantasy is Mark of the Fool?
Well, the series overall is like a coming-of-age magic academy story. Pretty classic, but always popular for a reason. And it has this weak to strong progression with the main character, Alex Roth.
Ah, so you see him grow, get more powerful over time.
Exactly. Super satisfying for a lot of readers. But on top of that, there's this like mystery that's woven through the entire series. It keeps you guessing. And the world, Timeland, it's so detailed. It feels very D&D inspired, you know?
Okay, D&D. So like deep lore, maybe different races, magic systems with rules, that kind of thing.
Exactly. It's like the author took inspiration from a D&D campaign. And then there's this thing called magical science, which is kind of cool.
Magical science. So it's not just like, oh, I'm waving my wand and something happens.
No, no, it's like they've got a more systematic, like almost experimental way of doing magic in Temland. But okay, so Market Fool 8 specifically, it seems like a pretty big turning point for Alex.
In what way? What makes it so significant?
So there's this like terrible revelation, right? Throws everything Alex thought he knew about Timeland and something called the Cycle of the Ravener totally up in the air.
Okay, the Ravener. That sounds important. Some kind of recurring event, maybe.
Yeah, it seems to be a big deal in their world, and now Alex is like questioning the very foundation of it. Huge shift for him.
Wow. Talk about shaking things up for longtime readers. What else is going on in this book? What's Alex up to?
Well, he's also hunting for hidden priests, part of this group called Odar's Rise. Adds a whole nother layer to the story.
So it's like a quest on top of everything else.
Exactly. And then on the villain side, things are getting interesting too. The Fool, the main bad guy.
Yeah, yeah.
He gains an unexpected ally right when the first apostle is like planning to take him down.
Oh, wow. So like shifting alliances, potential betrayal,
Yeah.
juicy. The stakes are definitely rising as we get closer to the end of the series. Now, you mentioned something about Alex's mark. What's that about?
Right. So this is a big one. He gets some new info about this mark he has, and it's like life-changing stuff. Could totally change his future. Big piece of the puzzle.
Okay, so we've got world-shattering revelations, priest stunts, villainous power struggles, and this whole mark thing. What would you say is the, central conflict of this book?
I think it really comes down to Alex versus the Fool. This ongoing battle for like ominence. And since we're in book 8 out of 10,
Yeah, this is setting the stage for the final showdown.
absolutely. Now, if you're more of an audiobook person, this one is a beast. 16 hours and 14 minutes, narrated by Travis Baldree.
Baldry, he's pretty popular, right?
Oh, yeah, big name in fantasy audiobooks. People love his style, really engaging. And 16 hours, that's a whole commitment, perfect for like losing yourself in the world.
Absolutely. Okay, so we have a pretty good picture of what this book is about. But what are people saying about it? What's the general vibe?
Overall, it seems pretty positive. A lot of people are saying the series is engaging, well written, and that this book specifically is a great read. Keeps them hooked.
Okay, so it's holding up even 8 books in. What are they liking specifically? What stands out?
The characters are a big one. People really appreciate how well developed they are and how they make decisions that like actually make sense.
Right, it's believable. You're not like, why would they do that?
Exactly. And the world building's still getting tons of praise. Creative, detailed, beautiful, like they really feel immersed in Thumbland.
Those are definitely key ingredients for a good fantasy series. What about the writing itself? How does it flow?
People are calling it funny, witty, clever. Like, the author has a great sense of humor, injects some personality into the writing.
Keeps it light even when things get intense.
Yeah, totally. And they're liking the pacing, too. The drama unfolds naturally, doesn't feel dragged out.
Okay, so it moves along at a good clip.
Yeah, enjoyable and readable. Some people specifically mention liking the game-lit elements and the magical science stuff, which adds a unique flavor.
Interesting, yeah. And I guess the biggest sign of success is, are people excited for the next books?
Oh, absolutely. There's a lot of buzz about how the series is going to wrap up. People are invested.
That's great to hear, but Every book has its critics. What are some of the less positive things people are saying?
Yeah, so one thing that keeps popping up is the idea of filler content and repetition in this book. Some people feel like it's kind of a filler book.
Meaning it doesn't move the main plot forward as much.
Yeah, they still enjoy the character and where the series is going, but they feel like this one focuses more on character development and side stories without huge changes in the overall Alex versus the Fool conflict.
I see. So like a bridge between bigger plot points.
Exactly. And one reviewer mentioned that the ending felt kind of abrupt, like maybe the story was cut off at an odd place.
So maybe a bit less satisfying as a standalone book, even if it serves a purpose in the larger story.
Right. And even some of the positive reviews acknowledge this slower pace, this feeling that maybe not as much happens in this one.
Okay, so it's definitely something to keep in mind. What about those really specific comments, the things that individual readers highlighted?
Oh, there's some great ones. One person was just gushing about the series, loved the logical characters and the beautiful world building. Shows that those core elements are still really strong.
Yeah, that foundation is clearly important to a lot of people.
Totally. And then another one, they actually did call it a filler book, but they still love the characters and were super excited for the next books.
So they're hooked on the characters even if the plot slows down a bit.
Yep, they're invested. Then there was another one who thought the pacing was great, found it really interesting all the way through. So, different strokes for different folks.
Shows how subjective reading can be.
Absolutely. And get this, someone even compared the series to Harry Potter, specifically in terms of the characters. That's high praise.
Wow, that's saying something.
Right. Speaks to how well drawn the characters are, how much they connect with readers. And someone else really appreciated the focus on the side characters, how they're developed and given their own moments. Makes the world feel more like lived in.
Yeah, it's not just all about the main character.
Exactly. Oh, and someone used the phrase full of life and details to describe the book, which I thought was really fitting, captures that immersive quality.
Definitely. And one nice one, someone liked the balance between the personal stuff, the character interactions, and the wider political stuff going on in the world. So it's got a good mix of different elements.
Yeah, it's not just one-dimensional.
Right. So it sounds like even if the plot maybe takes a step back in this book, those other strong points are still there. Great characters, immersive world, fun writing style.
Exactly. And people are definitely still excited to see where the series goes next.
Yeah, that anticipation is a great sign. Okay, so bringing it back to our listeners, what does this all mean for them? If they're thinking about picking up Mark of the Fool 8, what should they know?
So if you're already a fan of this kind of fantasy, coming-of-age, Magic Academies, detailed worlds, and you like a bit of humor mixed in with your action, then this book probably delivers what you're looking for. It's more of what people love about the series.
Yeah, and it's clearly setting up the big finale, which everyone seems excited about.
For sure. But it's important to be aware of that filler thing some people are talking about. If you're the kind of reader who needs every book to have, like, huge plot advancements, this one might feel a little slow.
Yeah, it's more about deepening those characters and that world rather than big, explosive events.
Right. But if you're okay with that, if you enjoy that kind of exploration, then you'll probably still love it.
Awesome. Well, I think we've given everyone a pretty good overview of Mark of the Fool 8, what it's about, what people are saying, the good and the bad. Now they can decide for themselves if it's something they want to check out.
Yeah, hopefully this deep dive gives them enough info to make that call.
And here's a final thought to leave you with. In a series like this, a long one, how much do you value plot versus character? Does every book need to push the story forward like crazy, or are you okay with some books focusing more on the characters and the world, even if the main plot moves a little slower? It's something to think about as you explore the world of fantasy.